President Bola Tinubu is calling on Nigerians to support and appreciate the business magnate Aliko Dangote. Speaking at an economic summit, the president said that Dangote is a leading light for the nation's economy. So he stated that how the country treats the businessman will influence how the world judges Nigeria. The president's comments come after recent disputes between Dangote's companies and labor unions as well. President Tinubu, who was represented by the VP, Kashim Shettima, also outlined his administration's economic progress. He reported that the economy has grown, revenue collection is up, and the debt-to-revenue ratio has improved. The government says it remains ambitious in its goal to achieve a $1 trillion economy and eliminate poverty by 2030. So joining us now on this is Mr. Dayo Sobowale. Thank you for having us, or thank you for joining us today to discuss this topic.
It's a pleasure.
And I think we'll start by just taking your immediate reaction to these comments. I mean, the fact that we're seeing this groundswell of support from the federal government, but also the flip side is some criticism that this could be some sort of favoritism on their part as well. So just your take on that.
Well, either way, either favoritism or patriotism, I think what the president has done is to show gratitude to a thriving, essential Nigerian business in the face of industrial crisis. And then to send a signal to the trade unionists that industrial relations doesn't have to be disruptive every time. You get me? It can be integrative. Where you have a one-on-one situation, you have both the management and the unions and the staff, all of them, they gain. This is what has happened now. And it has taught a lesson to the Pengassan people that you cannot just whip up sentiment and expect everybody to run on board and be cheering you. Nigerians are discerning. They are discerning. And the president, of course, has seized the political opportunity to show that he values Dangote and by virtue of that, saying thank you for the crude supply and the emergence, the needy and timely emergence of Dangote with our fuel situation, even though you are still neck deep in the pain. So it's a matter of showing gratitude. I am appreciative of it. Yeah.
That's a very valid point. You know, the president had a lot of glowing things to say, and one of the things he did was call Dangote's investment an act of faith. Now, looking at the entirety of what exactly we're celebrating here, we're celebrating an individual, a private business that has, a private individual that has invested in Nigeria. The president also mentioned that, to be honest, he could have taken his investment anywhere else. If he had taken it to any other country, he would have been far richer, you know, but he decided to invest here in Nigeria. And I look at this and I imagine several other businessmen in Nigeria that may or may not have wanted to do something similar. Now, looking at the fact that Dangote has been able to invest so richly in Nigeria, and it has become it's become so beneficial to Nigerians, do you think that every other Nigerian has the opportunity to do and thrive in Nigeria, investing in Nigeria, just like Dangote has?
Well, it's, how do I put it? It's an exceptional business magnate. It's a captain of industry. And he's even valued more overseas than here. He's always having an interview with Forbes magazine, the leading economic magazine, and they are appreciative of what he's doing. To me, as a public relations person, he has turned the Dangote industry into a solid corporate citizen. If you say you have a solid corporate citizen, it's somebody who returns part of the profit to society, to develop society. You know, in their release, they mentioned that they are one of the highest taxpayers in Nigeria. That's corporate citizenship. I appreciate that. And I will appeal to the trade unions to learn from this. Like I said earlier, one-on-one trade industrial disputes can be settled in an integrative manner that no one loses and everybody wins. But this time around, I'm sure Dangote will not expect this sort of reaction from the public and the government, and the trade unionists too. The Pengassan people may be thinking that with the economic pace around, they can always muster support, do protests, and run government down. Things are not done that way. And I hope they are not copying what is happening in the US. We are ICE people implementing government policies, are being molested by demonstrators, and local police were given orders not to do anything to help the federal people. That has not happened there. So you have a lesson to teach even the great United States in this regard. So let's appreciate one positive thing about us, at least for now. Yes.
And in terms of, you mentioned the public, how should the public be thinking about this dispute? It's been going on for so long, and I think that if you're someone who isn't directly impacted by it, if you're not working in this industry, if you're not in politics, how are regular people on the street supposed to be thinking about this dispute?
Regular people on the street, once they have their fuel, they go home. Get me? I'll give you an analogy. When I was in the banking industry, the unionists will go on strike when it will strike the customers most, Christmas time, when they are on their money. So when the management calls on me and say, what's the situation? I say, all these people who have money here, all they want is to get their money for Christmas, regardless of the merit or demerit of the case of either the bank, management, or the unionists. So the same thing here now. See, the public will be more on the side of fuel supply being regular than whatever grievances what Pengassan may have. Because self-interest matters, and everybody wants to have satisfaction at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, I want us to come back to the conversation around, whether this is most ideal, especially in the wake of concerns, antitrust concerns. There are several Nigerians who believe that this entire situation is a case where there's some businesses that have not gotten as much concession as Dangote's business. Just recently on social media, the case of Ibeto Cement was trending just in the wake of these comments again, where Ibeto says that his business, and I would like to quote, he says, political interference prevented his business from competing fairly. Import licenses revoked, shipping vessels stranded without legal processes, and he contends that the policies were tailored to favor Dangote's businesses. Now, this is in the cement space. We're talking about his refinery and the Pengassan issue. But looking at the generality of what the president is saying, the president of Nigeria is urging Nigerians to support an individual businessman. Looking at the antitrust policies around this, do you think there's any valid reason for concern?
There's no valid reason. This is a competition, and you see, in the competition, you have a domineering.
But the president, should the president be involved in the competition?
Yes, if you are reading it that way, I don't see it that way.
Okay.
The president intervened to prevent the crisis. He is thriving now on the upbeat of his economic policies. He knows if Dangote is disrupted, he will be affected. So you can say it's acting on the basis of self-interest, but you cannot, because of that, say that he's supporting Dangote's, or he should support Dangote's competitors. Competition in some industries is a winner takes all, just like in the presidential system. Once you mean you are there to have power for the next 4 years, no matter how slim your margin of victory. So I don't see it as a monopolistic issue. And if it is, Ibeto or Ibwa, the nearest competitor to Dangote, they should go to our body. We have a body for competition. Get me? I think Bello is in charge of that. Yeah. They can file a notice or a petition with them and seek some resolution. But as it is, this is more of a patriotic fight, even though it is that's underlying economic and financial things. But don't forget that the self-interest of the populace is to have fuel. And if they see Dangote as the Salvation Army, they will always have empathy for Dangote, which is what they have done, and which the president has carried on too. So let's see that way.
And just in terms of other businesses, what will it take Or is there a sense that this administration is committed to uplifting other businesses in the same way so that we're not just talking about the Dangote group, we're talking about hundreds or thousands of other Nigerian businesses?
You are playing advisor to them now. It is in their best interest to do so, to see as many companies that can grow up like Dangote, so they can always stand up to defend them in the industrial crisis. Dangote is a major part of the economy because of the literal collapse of our energy prices. So the government is beholden to Dangote, and we wish more companies like Dangote grow up in various industries.
I couldn't agree more.
Yes.
You know, this just reminds me of Landmark, because that was another business that, you know, recently got completely demolished. That was a typical Nigerian business. It may not have been in oil, you know, but that was definitely a business that employed hundreds of people. It's not even to talk about the several people outside the country that are still craving compensation for business lost and houses demolished. Now, looking at...
There's no way Landmark will not be paid compensation.
No, I'm not saying that they're not paid compensation. You're talking about the support for businesses. I was just going to ask, would you say that when their property was demolished, you know, and we saw all those jobs go down the drain, all those businesses go down the drain in order to get the roads done, would you say they received the same level of support, since you're talking about industrialization and how the government supports all businesses?
But they are not in the same...
industry?
Right? And Landmark, well, maybe to put it crudely, was in the way of road construction. It happens all over the world, but compensation must be, that's the law. Compensation, adequate compensation must be. But you cannot stop government from having this way. Especially if government says you are standing in the way and they need to demolish, but compensation must be paid. Don't let us look at it other than as an economic or infrastructural issue. So, that's it.
That's a very valid point. Thank you so much, Mr. Dayo Sobowale, for your time. It's always such an interesting discourse with you.